Hey everyone, I'm Melanie.
I'm PJ.
And I'm James.
And we are Crushing Plains, another rock band from Houston, Texas.
Today we're really excited to announce the official release of our brand new single, Erase, which features all three of us. Obviously, up to this point, we've been a duo, but we're very excited to be incorporating bass on James. We are really excited to have everyone hear his mad bass skills, because there's a lot of bass slapping on the song. It's gonna be available everywhere music is streamed and or for sale. And instead of simply just announcing this, we thought we would do a fun little video where we answer questions that y'all submitted to us on the internet over social media and whatnot. As a disclaimer, James and Melanie have not seen the questions yet, so they're going in blind on this one. But anyways, Melanie, why don't you read our first question?
So Brandon Chandler, 55, asks, what is your favorite song?
Well, Brandon, I'm sure you are quite aware that this is a very difficult question to answer, considering the vast amount of music that is out there and available. But I will share a song that I'm really enjoying in a second. James, why don't you answer this question? I need time to think about this. Whoa! I need time to look at my iPod. My phone.
So favorite song is a really difficult one because I listen to a bunch of different music. I would say most things that the band Our Last Night puts out. Old School, Asking Alexandria.
Oh, nice.
I don't really have any particular song that I'm crazy about.
What about you?
Well, okay, so there's so many songs that I love, but recently I've been revisiting a lot of Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, and groups like that recently. And I ebb and flow because obviously I've been listening to them for years and years, but recently I've been really enjoying Time by Pink Floyd. That guitar solo just totally blows my mind and I never get tired of it.
More recently, I've really enjoyed, there's a song.
What are you doing? James, scoot in the frame
There
here.
is a song by the Death Valley Girls. It's called Street Justice that I've been really digging recently.
Okay.
But if we're going a little bit further back, I have always enjoyed, I think it's called Family System by Chevelle.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one.
I really like that song, too.
Yeah,
So I think it just depends on the day, because I listen to all kinds of genres of music, and it really just kind of depends on the day.
James, why don't you read the next question?
Mr. Uber asks, what are your main inspirations as a band?
If I'm being honest, and we get this comparison constantly, not so much now that we're a trio, but when we first started, we got this comparison constantly where we were told oh, y'all are like the White Stripes. You're the White Stripes. Are y'all the White Stripes? You're just trying to be the White Stripes. And
are y'all like a White Stripes cover band?
Yeah, and it drove us crazy. But the truth is, when we were first dating and we first started playing music together, we were playing White Stripes songs. So while that's not obviously today our biggest influence, because we listen to a lot of grunge bands and a lot of just hard rock groups and stuff like that.
Another band too, not to trample on you.
No, you're good. You're good.
But another band too that was pretty influential when we started was the Pack AD from Canada.
We did really like the Pack AD.
We really liked them too.
We still do, because they're still a band. But it was groups like that, blues, rock duos, that really inspired us to start playing music. And then once we did start playing music, we steered away from blues rock and we started going more into the grunge territory. The next question is submitted by Kyle Keith and Kayla Bug 426. And they ask, what are some of the first albums you ever bought?
This is where I feel like we're going to start being dated, age-wise.
Perhaps. James, why don't you start us off? What's the first album you ever bought?
Five Finger Death Punch, The Way of the Fist. That's one of them.
There you go.
I'm trying to remember which Breaking Benjamin album it was.
Here we go.
They put
Phobia?
out with, it might have been Phobia.
Yeah.
Do you know what the cover art is?
Yeah, it was the guy walking down the middle of the road with wings.
That's Phobia,
Yeah, so Phobia.
It's a good album.
3 Days Grace.
Yes.
I used to listen to a lot of 3 Days
Oh my goodness,
Grace.
yes.
What about you, Melanie?
Well, I don't know if I actually remember the album names, but I'm going to say it's one of these three for sure.
Okay.
And I don't know because I feel like it was all at the same time. It was either Creed.
Oh gosh. Creed.
Or Third Eye Blind. Or possibly Sum 41.
Okay.
And for Third Eye Blind, I'm sure it was the one with Semi-Charmed Life on it. Things like that. But I'm not sure of the album names now that I'm thinking about it. I just know it was probably one of those 3 bands.
First album I ever bought was Wow Hits #1, the Christian music thing. The first mainstream album, if you will. And this is super embarrassing. I can't believe this is the first one I bought. But it was actually Daughtry. So, yeah. Kind of embarrassing, but that was the first mainstream album I bought was Daughtry.
I would have thought, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Like a Green Day album.
The next one, it's from your brother.
Oh, it's from
So
Nate.
Nate's, when is the next music video and or live stream? I'm feeling like the spring for sure. Yeah. On the next, at least live stream performance. And then maybe the summer for a music video, just when
we definitely want to do a music video, like a legit fancy music video. Because that's obviously what I do is work with a lot of bands to do music videos. And that was always kind of a part of us starting the band. I was like super excited. I'm like, I want to do a music video. That's like a big dream of mine. And we did lyric videos, and obviously those have been a lot of fun. But I really want to do a legit music video, hire a cinematographer, make it really cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. So hopefully 2021 is the goal, is what we're thinking. And I don't know if it's going to be this song or if it's going to be another song. We'll just see kind of what happens. But as far as a live stream, I think Melanie's right. Probably the spring, perhaps, because we do want to do a live stream.
Yeah.
But we'll just have to kind of see where everything goes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Thanks for chipping in there, bro. Robert Warwick asks, what is it like to be in a grunge band with your wife? Why don't you answer this question? What it's like to be in a grunge band with your husband? Husband. What is it like?
Please
I cannot
keep
talk.
that in this.
Oh my god.
Please keep
The
that
struggle
in.
is real tonight, y'all.
Well, like anything with your best friends in life, there are some days where it's great. You know, some days where we're really connecting, we're grooving. And really, we started this whole thing to have fun. He happened to play guitar. I happened to play drums. And we were like, hey, when we were dating, we were like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we like played together? And so we did that. And that's kind of how, I guess, this whole thing started. It was just, you know, us having fun and kind of goofing off and being completely ridiculous. And I mean, we still have a lot of fun, but there are moments that are
brought
pretty
up the pressure,
intense, right? Because everything is amplified. So there are times where it's great, and I think a lot of people think it's really cool that we do it. And then there's a lot of times where I want to strangle him or hit him over the head with a drumstick.
Classic. As we progressed, we've learned how to communicate better with each other artistically and hear each other's ideas better, because I'm very driven as an individual, and I tend to go into the songwriting process or anything like that and have a very specific vision. And sometimes when other people throw ideas out, I'm like, wait, what? Like I'm like so far along the road that I sometimes don't slow down. Finally, I got to a point where I was doing better at hearing Melanie's ideas. And then when James came into the mix, it was another voice that I had to learn how to listen to and hear and respect. And I think that's been really good for me. And that's our printer. So in case you're wondering what all those robot noises are, that's our printer down there. So we're all good.
How is it for you, James?
Yeah, how is it
for
Oh,
me?
yeah, that is great. What is it like being in a band? What is it like being in a band with a married couple?
There's some days where I'm just like, poor James.
Yeah.
It's actually not bad, honestly.
Okay.
Because like I think both of y'all are pretty cool.
All right, sweet.
And
that's good.
You guys are pretty fun just to be around, and
Relief.
I think of both of you as like really good friends. So
Good job, James. Brownie points. Good job.
I try.
Awesome.
There you go.
Okay, so MediaManDan asks, how did you come up with the band name Crushing Planes?
So what Crushing Planes means to us is kind of built up around this idea of losing innocence, because for all of us, 9/11 was obviously a very monumental moment in our growing up years, because I can say for me personally, I was very sheltered and I kind of in a way felt like I lived in a little bubble. And then when 9/11 happened, it very much woke me up to the world outside of my backyard. And it kind of felt like I was starting to lose a little piece of my innocence or grow up, which obviously that happens for all of us. Our country has this really unique relationship with airplanes, because obviously there was 9/11, and then when Pearl Harbor happened, we got attacked from the sky. And so that's kind of basically what it is, this idea of, is kind of crushing innocence or growing up and looking at the world outside of your own backyard, if you will.
I just fly a lot.
He flies a lot.
Noah asked, what happened to the Scratch That podcast?
Okay, so James, you probably don't know anything about this.
James,
No.
I am
know
so
nothing.
glad you don't know anything about this.
Melanie and I
have
had
questions. now.
Melanie and I had a podcast for a year, and it was called Scratch That, and we reviewed albums and talked about music. We did an entire 2-hour special with a buddy of mine where we talked about the definition of rock music and what it means in this day and age.
It got very heated at times.
We love the idea of doing a podcast one day, and we don't know what it would be about necessarily, but we love visiting and we love having conversations, but probably not reviewing albums. And that goes into what I've talked about on my channel before. I'm really steering things away from reviewing music because, especially now that I'm making music, it just feels really, it's hard to do without considering the process and how difficult it is.
I think that was the biggest thing. The biggest reason that we stopped is just as we were putting in more and more studio time and performing and things like that, we're kind of like, man, there's just a lot in this process. There's always a lot of people involved that are behind the scenes who aren't even necessarily a part of the band and things like that. And it just, in a way, it kind of felt wrong to be critiquing
there's nothing wrong
music.
with music critics or people who do reaction videos, because I think all that's important. But speaking for myself, I didn't want to do it anymore because, especially since I was creating content, I wanted to shift focus and be like, I'd rather create original material than talk about other people's material. And I realized that, in a way, shot myself in the foot when it comes to my channel's growth. And a lot of people will subscribe and then unsubscribe when they find out I'm not doing it anymore. But that's just, I have to be honest to how I feel about the situation, and that's why we don't really do it anymore. But I'm glad that somebody still remembers Scratch That, the little window of time that we did that. Mr. Pisky asks, what does your songwriting process look like?
When we first started, I had been writing lyrics to songs in my head because I'm crazy.
For years.
For many, many, many years. So I have
even before we met, right?
Yeah, before we even met. Yeah. So I have just notebooks of lyrics and stuff for different songs. So it originally was just us pulling things from that we thought were good and then putting them to music. I feel like more recently, just as life has gotten busier, I mean, it's at least 8 years or so later than since I probably was writing lyrics down. PJ probably writes more of our lyrics now than he once did.
There has been a shift, because when we first started, it was pretty much entirely Melanie. And as time has gone on, it's all kind of fallen in my lap. So I'm doing a lot of the writing. But something interesting about this new song, and I really want to talk about this, because when we started writing the song Erase, it started initially as this conclusion to another song. And I came up with this little solo to add to the end. And I was like, hey, what do you think about having this be at the end of the song? And then me and James were playing it. Yeah. And then Melanie, what did you say?
I believe I compared it to an Oreo.
Yes.
Wait,
you did.
How?
I felt like you essentially, you had something that was gold in there that could be its own song, and it didn't really fit in the Oreo. I felt like it was you were taking, I believe this is how I describe, I don't know, but I felt like you were taking the hard cookie part of the Oreo, and then you had the filling, and then you had another hard cookie part of the Oreo to make the Oreo, and then over here you were adding extra filling on
I had a gummy bear just
and
on one side of the Oreo.
I was like, hey, this ending, that is really, it worked more as its own song. And then also because we weren't going to be releasing an EP with the song that we were planning to record, I just didn't feel like we needed any kind of transition at that moment. Because we were only going to record maybe 1 or 2 songs. So I don't know.
And so what ended up happening was Melanie was like, I think it's another song. And originally my reaction was, okay, we'll just
this reaction was just heck nah, this is a horrible idea.
We've already been working on this.
Whoa.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
whoa.
No, we're ganging up on you here.
Goodness.
You fought us for a solid hour at rehearsal.
Okay, so maybe I did that. But then
that goes back to your director kind of mentality.
I had a vision.
Of the show.
And then so finally I basically said, okay, we will try to do something new and we'll have this be its own song. And I remember you played me some random song. I cannot remember what it was, but you said, could we do something like this? And so I started kind of messing around on the guitar. And then James started coming in on the bass, and then you started freaking out. You're like, "Oh my goodness, this is so much better. This is so great."
It was.
And so then the song formed from there, and then we took the next couple days to really hone in on the song and find out what it was. And that was really exciting because up to that point, a lot of our song creation was most of the time I would be by myself. I would write something, and then I would present it to Melanie, and then she would play something. And then because James came in a little bit later, we were basically just, hey, here's the song, do something with
James.
it. But this was the first song that we really came up together and we just added stuff and ideas. And then and that was really cool to just be able to work on together as a band. And that's why in part we're so excited about this new song, because we feel like it's all of us together. It wasn't just PJ or Melanie. It was very much all of us working together. We hope that y'all enjoyed this video. Obviously, it was pretty laid back and we're just hoping to have a fun time with it. But please go check out our new single, Erase. Like I said before, it's everywhere that you can stream music and or purchase music. We're really excited about this, and we're really excited about moving forward as a band in the year 2021. We're hoping to do some live shows. We're hoping to release more music. Obviously, like we said earlier, we're really hoping to be able to do an official music video and all this good stuff. But thank you all so much for being interested in what we're doing, and we'll see you down the road.
Hi. Steve, say hi.
Hi.
What is it like having parents who are in a rock band? Really?
Totally.
That is so interesting. What do you think about James?
James still can get back.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. What is your favorite song by Crushing Plains?
Jolene.
Jolene. Sweetie, we didn't write Jolene, but I appreciate the vote of confidence.
I wish we had written Jolene.
I wish we wrote
honestly.
Jolene. That'd be legit.
Erase all